Uh, I'm sure that all of you, in some way or another, are involved in the hunger issue at some place. I'm here just to help build an awareness for the hunger issue of people who are 50 and older. And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Absolutely, as we, again, get involved and concerned in it. Hunger is a public health concern. And when you think of public health, you think of things like sanitation and good water and things like that. But really, it's a widespread problem that's throughout the nation, throughout the world for that matter. But we're just talking about Oregon more or less today. People who are over 50 or with disabilities, there's a risk for food insecurity. There are lots of households in this way. Being uninsured, medically uninsured, is a risk factor. We'll talk about more risk factors in a little bit. Hunger and its consequences may be mitigated through various programs which happen to be underutilized today. We've got programs, but people do not have access to them for one reason or another. Something else we'll talk about. What is food insecurity? Well, when you're secure, you know that your next meal is coming. You have no problem with that. If you're marginally insecure, every once in a while you wonder, am I going to have enough money at the end of the month to get the food that I need? Food insecurity itself occurs whenever the availability of nutritionally adequate food or the ability to acquire acceptable foods is in a socially acceptable manner is limited to uncertainty due to insufficient money and other resources. And then with very low food security, you go hungry more often than not. The risk factors for hunger of those who are age 50 or more is the same for most of the population. It's low income, it's social isolation. How many elderly people live in their own home and by themselves have mobility issues, whether it's just getting around the house or getting out of the house to go to the grocery store. They have physical and or mental impairments, and unfortunately they may be of a minority status. Now, in the handouts that I gave you, you'll find one clipped together with a staple, has this diagram on it. And just want to talk a couple minutes about it. This is kind of an old graph, but it does show that the three major categories of hunger. The top line is indicative of those who are threatened by hunger. They're not hungry frequently, they're not hungry all the time, but there are time periods when they are threatened by it. The second line down is those who are at risk. They have food insecurity. And of course the last one, showing the statistics, very low food insecurity. They're hungry more often than not. What are the consequences? Well, what are the consequences of not breathing? Your physical health goes down. Your nutritional inadequacy builds up in your body so that various parts of the body become less effective in their actions. Your emotional and psychological well-being will decline. And if you're hungry all the time, you really don't want to talk to people. So your social relationships begin to decline as well. Undernourished seniors may experience a misdiagnosis of dementia or early Alzheimer's. The symptoms can be similar. They'll have dizzy spells. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm growing less stable as I grow older, and I don't need hunger to add to my dizziness. Muscle and memory loss. Fatigue and depression. Weakened immune systems, digestive, lung, and heart problems. Now, on the back of that graph, there's a map of the United States. Unfortunately, it is not in color, but you can tell that Oregon is one of the darkest places in the nation. Now, this is for people who are 50 or older and have 200% of the poverty level, federal poverty level. I had a sheet on that in case you wanted to know what that was. In here. So my apologies, I've misplaced it at the moment. But the poverty level is around $11,000 for a household of one. And for it goes up from there. So 200% for a household of one would be $22,000. So we're talking about food insecurity rates for people over 50 here who have an income of about $22,000 or less per annum. Oh, there's my guy right there. Household of four. Anybody here in a household of four? 100% poverty level is anything below $23,550. So 200% would be twice that, and so forth. So if you want to take a look at that later, if that's of interest to you, you may. Now on the next page, Oregon Food Bank did a little survey, and I related it to the pie chart on the next page, which talks about food box recipients and what percentage are at what age. So what you have then is of the boxes that are received in the years that are shown there, the fiscal years that are shown here. I took the last year of 2011-12, and those who are 70 or older receive 56,000 boxes. Those who are 55 to 69 received 145,600 boxes during that year from the various Oregon food banks. Now the next page shows contributing factors why people come to the food banks for food. SNAP or lack thereof, they run out of SNAP funds, is the top reason. High food costs, high costs of gasoline, fuel, etc. You can read on down through those. But I thought it was curious that running out of SNAP funds was the top reason, especially since I don't know how many of you saw in the news that the federal government reduced the SNAP funds by about $11.
What is SNAP?
Supplemental nutrition assistance program. It used to be food stamps. And we'll talk quite a bit more about SNAP in a little bit. So, what resources are available to people who are hungry? And do they even know about them? Right? That's a key point. The food banks or other food programs. Women, infant, and children, WIC. You may have seen the little decals on the various stores for women, infant, and children acceptance. And then Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps. There are also community groups. Our church participates in ongoing working at and providing foodstuffs for the Lane County Food Bank. We also have an association with an elementary school where the teachers and staff have identified 31 children who are at risk over the weekend of going hungry, they and their families. And so we provide a backpack with some food to help get them over the weekend, every weekend. So there are those kinds of things. In your own community, are any of you aware of some sort of food program that you're involved with or know about?
Yeah. We have the Lynn Benton Food Share, and then
Lynn Benton Food
Lincoln
Share?
School also does a similar backpack program as well in local
Okay.
schools.
So those programs are there. It's just that, are they widespread enough, and are people aware of them? Now, we also have for seniors home delivered meals. Meals on Wheels is one example. The Oregon Farm Direct Nutritional Program, vouchers to spend at farmers markets. I'd never heard of this program before, but I think that's a great program. It not only provides them hungry people with very nutritional program, but it also helps support our local agricultural community. And then Store to Door is another program I hadn't heard about before, but personalized low-cost grocery shopping. I know that some stores do it. They'll do it for anybody, but you've got to pay a little extra for the food as well. But this would help people with mobility issues. Let's talk just a second about SNAP. It is the cornerstone of the federal program for food assistance administered by the USDA, and senior households on average receive about $90 of monthly SNAP benefits. Now, remember that S is for supplemental. The federal government did not intend for SNAP to be the only source of food funding. It is supplemental, and for many people, supplemental isn't enough. I know that there's a fairly large group in Eugene right now, and probably in many communities, that's attempting to live on $28 a week in food. Can you use just $28? We got a message from our pastor and her husband the other day, and they are existing on $28 a week, but that's just it, existing. And for those who have other challenges, for instance, I have a daughter who's, among other things, is susceptible to migraines. And there are certain additives in processed foods that trigger very severe headaches for her. You can't buy those kinds of foods without the additives at $28 a week. So there's that issue as well. Unlike many other states, Oregon, in looking at your needs doesn't look at your assets. It only looks at your actual income. So that it's a little bit easier to qualify for SNAP. They don't look at your house, you know, how, what the value of your house is, or whether you have a savings account or a car or whatever. Retirement fund. So that's a good thing. A lot of other states don't do that. SNAP benefits are paid using an electronic benefit transfer card, EBT card. So it gets rejuvenated on a weekly basis. And that can be used in some farmers markets. That's a growing trend, but still it uses up the money a little bit faster. Most stores, you can buy foods or house for the household to eat, or you can even buy seeds to grow your own food, or starter plants, which is a good thing as well. Did you know that Oregon receives about $1 billion a year in SNAP funds? That's an incredible amount. And it estimates that for each $1 billion spent in SNAP, this results in over 16,000 private sector jobs, farming, livestock, food processing, grocery stores. Unused SNAP benefits can be carried over, so if you don't use them 1 month, you can keep carrying them over up to 12 months, which is a good thing. And like I said, beginning in November, this slide says $10 a month was the reduction per recipient, but I've seen other figures that say that it's about $11.
Question on income qualification.
Yes.
You said household of one is $1,772 a month. Is that gross or net income? And do they before taxes or after taxes or withholding?
It's my understanding that it's gross, but that's a good question.
Okay.
I don't have anything in front of me that I can point to say that it's gross.
Okay.
Now, people, families especially, who receive SNAP are also eligible for other programs such as free school meals for both families and children. There's an Oregon telephone assistance program that is useful for helping people be able to communicate who might not ordinarily be able to afford a telephone. There's a supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children. Deferral of federal student loans. Who knew? If you qualified for SNAP, you could also defer your student loan. There are $5 music and theater tickets available. I didn't know that. Farmers market vouchers for some seniors, EBT match programs, so that if they accept EBT or SNAP funds, they will get a certain amount of matching from the state. And low-income energy assistance programs of various kinds. Many older adults who are eligible for SNAP benefits do not apply for SNAP. Why would you not apply for SNAP? What?
Probably don't know how,
Don't know how.
or probably don't even know it exists.
Don't even know it exists. Suppose you did. Why would you not want to?
And it's also a matter of pride for quite a few of them.
Pride.
Yeah.
There's a stigma attached to accepting money that you haven't earned. So sometimes there's poor or discourteous customer service at the store. Oh, you're using SNAP? Problems with seasonally adjusted income. Summertime, you're out working on the farm and you're making lots of money, so you get no SNAP. And then you gotta go back and reapply for it in the fall because sometimes the enrollment rules tend to be a little bit complicated. And so even the people who are helping to enroll you may inappropriately apply those rules. Bureaucrats being what they are, and I used to be one, so know that one. Misinformation, lack of knowledge, we all talked about that. How can you get involved? You hear in Rotary, other people stand up here in front of other groups and be me. You can volunteer, as I've heard several of you indicate that you've already been involved in it. You can advocate for people that you know who are hungry and help them get the support that they need. Offer to cook a meal for a senior that you know who might be having problems just getting their meal. Back in 2007, when I first moved to Eugene, I got a call from a family friend who said that her cousin, a World War II vet, was in the VA hospital in Roseburg, and he needed to get back into his apartment, but they wouldn't let him go until he proved that the apartment was adequately stocked with food, et cetera, et cetera. And when I got down there to visit with him, I found that they kept him so medicated that he was practically incoherent. So it was impossible for him to, make sense of what they wanted. I went to his apartment. He'd been out of it for almost 8 months, and it was a mess left over from when he had been injured and unable to take care of himself. So got it cleaned up. Got him in his apartment. He lived there happily for many, many years. The family friend did help him get live-in assistance. But those are the kinds of things that you can do. Find out if there are people in your community who need some sort of help, and donate your time to them. Visit senior centers. Senior centers are places where seniors congregate and often are served meals. Just be there to socially interact with them. It's sometimes nice to have a friendly face to talk to every once in a while. Get involved in Meals on Wheels. Get behind the wheel and deliver a meal or 3. Collect food. I'm sure every one of you have dropped a can of food in a barrel someplace at one time or another. Host an anti-hunger themed house or neighborhood gathering. Interesting. Have a party July 4th in your neighborhood. Coordinate or participate in hunger-focused service projects. Now, somewhere in this pile, you have a sheet that says 211 Oregon. This is a telephonic and online referral process, toll-free information hotline. And it can also provide some pre-screening for eligibility for various kinds of services. It's not just for SNAP, it's not just for hunger, it's for homelessness, it's for a variety of things. But, they claim they've got 100 people who speak 150 different languages. So, there's also, as part of the Oregon Department for Seniors and Disabled Persons, Aging and Disability Resource Connection of Oregon, both online, and there is a free number on the back side of 211. And unfortunately, for those of you who sat to my left, you don't have this page. This is a copy or a printed of the homepage of that particular website. And the services are listed down the left side. So you might take a look at that, and if you would like a copy of that, you come over and get it off the right-hand side here, where we have that. Now, any questions before I wrap this up? Yeah.
I have a question that, it appears that there are some restrictions on what SNAP money can be used to buy.
Yes, you can't buy tobacco, alcohol.
How is that regulated now with the use of a debit card?
Well, it's kind of self-regulated in terms of the provider of the goods. In other words, a person at the clerk at the grocery store will need to take those items and separate them out and use the EBT card just for the items that qualify. And then the customer will have to pay for the other non-available.
And I can remember the days of the paper food stamps when it was pretty obvious that's what was happening.
Yeah,
Now with a debit card, I don't know, but
yeah. No, it's still up to the grocery clerk though, to separate out those items or
Actually,
what
it's,
purveyor.
I think it's electronic.
yeah, it is, it's all electronic, like if you go to Winco, their computer system's set up in a way so that it can identify what's eligible,
From the
what's not.
barcode.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, from the barcode.
That's great.
yeah.
So it won't, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So just along that lines, is it, I mean, I got a couple questions, like a roast chicken, because, you know, you can live off of roast chicken pretty well, but if it's already prepared, you can't use SNAP for that, right?
That's a good question. I have not the answer for that. I don't know why not.
Because there's
Prepared
something,
food used to be,
Yeah,
back in my grocery days, prepared foods, like going to a restaurant, were not eligible for food
Yeah.
stamps. So I don't know if they draw that same line.
I think it is with it,
in grocery
unfortunately.
stores.
I have seen some restaurants with the EBT decal.
Really?
So it's, I think it's a little broader now than it used to be.
So, in terms of finding out about that loan, federal student loan,
Mhm.
I think, how would one find out about that?
I would start either with the 211
Okay.
program or the resource connection, although that's DHS, so it might not be there. I'd start with the 211.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah, just some key takeaways. Food insecurity is a problem faced by everybody, let alone seniors. It's clearly documented. It may be mitigated, and there are several ways to get it. Thank you very much.
thank you, Bruce, very much. And just as a token of our appreciation, we want to give you this mug to remind you of your